Hi friends, welcome to Yuvaguru English Theory Lectures. We have theory and practical, two types of video lectures. In theory we cover the concepts and in practicals we cover the solved examples or solve the examples. Both this theory and practical together are useful for CBSE, ICSE, various state boards across India and outside India as well. Anyone who wants to understand English needs to download this Yuvaguru English app from Play Store. So let's focus on our topic. Today's topic is active and passive voice. This is video number 1. We will be covering this video in 2 to 3 videos. So let's start. Firstly, get it very simple. See here, active and passive. Passive means by is used generally. Means first, see here, subject and predicate. So what happens in active? Rama helps Hari. That is active voice. Hari is helped by Rama. That is passive voice. Now we will read this further. It will be seen that these two sentences express the same meaning. That's okay. But in sentence 1, the form of verb shows that the person denoted by the subject does something. Means person denoted by the subject means who? Rama. Rama is the subject. He does something. Rama helps Hari. So he does something. Okay. The verb is said to be in the active voice. Now this verb helps is in the active voice. In sentence 2, see this. Hari is helped by Rama. The form of verb shows that something is done to the person denoted by the subject. Now this, look at the angle of looking at it. The form of the verb shows that something is done to the person denoted by the subject. Means what? Something is done to the subject, right? Something is done to the subject, and in the first sentence subject does something. Now these two are the differences. So something is done to the subject means what? Hari is helped by Rama. Okay, so by, subject is over here, so something is done to Hari. Now see this here, sorry, Rama is not a subject over here. Here the sentence changes. Hari is a subject, something is done to Hari, the person denoted by the subject. The verb helped is said to be in the passive voice. See this, here subject is Hari, here subject is Rama, right? So sentence 1, subject does something, and sentence 2, subject is helped by someone, means something is done to subject. So now we come to the definition of active and passive. See this, a verb is in the active voice. Remember, always a verb is in the active voice. Other nouns and anything, it's nothing to do with that. Okay, that's why it's always said the verb is a very important word in the sentence. A verb is in the active voice when its form shows, as in sentence 1, means which Rama helps Hari, that the person or a thing denoted by the subject does something. So the subject does something. Okay, so in that case it's called as active voice, or in other words it is a doer of the action, means subject is a doer. Okay, the active voice is so called because the person denoted by the subject acts, right? Rama helps Hari, Rama is acting, right? Now passive, a verb is in the passive voice when its form shows that something is done to the person or thing denoted by the subject. Means what? Hari is helped by Rama, so something is done to Hari. Okay, so the passive voice is so called. Means why is it called passive? Because the person or the thing denoted by the subject is not active but passive. Here, okay, now these are all words. Important is this part, that is it suffers or receives some action, right? Receives some action. Hari is helped by Rama. Okay, receiving. So definition, voice is that form of the verb which shows whether what is denoted by the subject does something or has something done to it. Okay, means what? Active and passive. See, what are these two? But these are voices, active voice, passive voice. So active means what? Subject does something, and passive means what? Something is done to the subject, right? Note the change from active voice to passive voice in the following sentences. See this. Okay, Sita loves Savitri. So Savitri is loved by Sita. So active, passive. Right? Subject does something. Your subject is at the receiving end. Savitri is loved by Sita. Okay. The mason is building the wall. So active. Mason is doing something. The wall is being built by the mason. Okay. Passive means your wall is at the receiving end. The peon opened the gate. So active. Peon is acting. The gate was opened by the peon. So gate is at the receiving end. See here, the subject changes. Here what is the predicate or the object, you can call it, that becomes the subject over here, and here what is the subject in active, that becomes the object over here. Okay. Some boys were helping the wounded man. So boys were helping, boys were doing, active. The wounded man was being helped by some boys. Okay. Now next, he will finish the work in a fortnight. These two are separate words. He will finish the work in a fortnight. The work will be finished by him in the fortnight. Okay. By is used. See here he is the active person, he is the subject, he does, and here the work is the subject and it is at the receiving end. Who does this? Who did this? So active. By whom was this done? Passive. Okay. Here who does this? So subject, who, and here who is at the receiving end, as a predicate. By whom was this done? Why did your brother write such a letter? Active. Why was such a letter written by your brother? Right. So here active means subject acts, passive means subject is at the receiving end, and the subject and the predicate or the object interchange the positions. Okay. It will be noticed that when the verb is changed from active to passive, the object of the transitive verb in the active voice becomes the subject of the verb in the passive voice. So that's what I said just now, that the position changes. Now what is this transitive verb? There are two types of verbs, transitive and intransitive. Means what? Suppose for example, if I say I kicked the ball, means I am transferring something to the ball. My kick is being transferred to that ball. That's why it's called as transitive. I pushed the vehicle, right? Transitive. Now intransitive means what? The vehicle was pushed. That's it. The vehicle was pushed over. Now that is intransitive. So these are the two things, transitive and intransitive. And in intransitive, nothing passes from one person to another or one thing to another. Okay. So move on. The object of the transitive verb in the active voice becomes the subject of the verb in the passive voice. Okay. So what was the first sentence? Sita loves Savitri. So thus in sentence 1, Savitri, which is the object of in the active voice, becomes the subject in the passive voice, right? Passive was what? Savitri is loved by Sita. So that becomes the subject over here. Since the object of the verb in the active voice becomes the subject in the passive form, it follows that only transitive verbs can be used in the passive voice because an intransitive verb has no object. This sentence is very, very important. Only transitive verbs can be used in passive voice because an intransitive verb has no object. Means what? So it means I kicked the ball. Means kicked. Kicking means what? Transitive. Transitive means transferring something from I to the ball. Right? Only these can be used in the passive voice. Means the ball was kicked by me. So only that can be used, kicked. Because intransitive verb has no object. Now what is intransitive verb? Example. For example, the bus stopped. Let's take few examples here. Intransitive means a number of English verbs can only be intransitive. That is, they will never make sense paired with an object. Means when they are paired with something, they will never make any sense. Two examples of intransitive only verbs are arrive and die. You can't arrive something. Means the bus arrived at the stop. You certainly can't die something. It is impossible for an object to follow these verbs. Let's understand this better. Transitive and intransitive. See here, verb is, let's say, to run. So transitive is I ran the show, means I is transferred, means something is transferred from me to the show. Transitive. And I ran, that's it. Intransitive means nothing is transferred. To walk. She was walking the dog, means walking means transferring she to the dog, right? Transitive. She is walking there, so she is alone. No, she is not getting transferring anything to anyone. To eat. Let's eat the pie. So eat the pie means eating from me to the pie. Transitive. Let's eat. Intransitive. Right? So here, these are the examples of transitive and intransitive. So only transitive verbs can be used in the passive voice because an intransitive verb has no object. Means I helped the boy. So I helped the boy. Transitive, right? But in intransitive passive voice, what will I say? The boy was helped. That's it. By me is many times omitted. So just the boy was helped. So here that becomes the passive. So that was the video number 1 and part 1 of the theory of active and passive voice. You can download this Yuvaguru English app from Play Store to get these videos, test, question banks with explanations directly on your mobile. These video lectures contain theory and practical, both types of videos. In theory we cover the concepts and in practical we cover the solved examples or examples which are solved. Both these together are useful for CBSE, ICSE, various state boards across India and outside India as well. Anyone who wants to understand English needs to download this Yuvaguru English app. Follow us on Facebook on this link. WhatsApp us on this number for any query related to purchases. Keep studying, keep watching. Thanks.